Sanjay, we're back. We're back. Welcome everybody to the Golden Lotus podcast. It's me and Sanji. We are gonna have a great time today.
Sure.
We're gonna be talking about spirituality and how it unites with the physical realm. Obviously, we live in a dual world. To my estimation, we're spirits living in a material world, not to quote Sting from the Police, but we are going to dive into it and unpack it. Definitely, Yogi Sanjivana has an extensive amount of experiments into meditation and to that like mindfulness and holistic and searching into that higher power through that blissful state of, interior contemplation. And I am on the search for that, and I'm definitely open and looking forward to hear what we have to talk about today. So let's dive into it. Okay.
Sure.
Hello, Sanji.
Hello, hello. Very nice to meet you, Adan.
Nice to see you again. So tell me, how do you go about meditating? You're in the craziness of the day. You know, you went to the market, you bought food, you were a little bit, you went through something that was in the physical realm. How do you go from that exterior world and really focus on the inside?
Uh-huh. So, Adan, thank you so much, and very nice to be here.
So basically, when we are, for example, me on my side, if I wake up, I get into a car, I get into
Mm.
the traffic, I have to go to the supermarket, there's a long line, there's stress, people are honking the horn. These people that are in a metropolis in a
Listen.
big city, they struggle connecting to a higher power. They struggle connecting to that inner blissful peaceful state because they're so anchored into the physical world. How do you go about, or how would you give advice to somebody who wants to connect to that higher power
Mhm.
in a more peaceful place that's not anchored in this physical world?
Mhm. So, Adan,
Yeah.
it is kind of like any other profession or any field. So, in some
Mm-hmm.
places, it's considered as it's kind of like a rough example, but from
Mm-hmm.
ancient times, it had explained like a warrior getting prepared. See,
Yeah.
modern days, if it's somebody like who's in the law enforcement or some like that, they go through rigorous training, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, they are put into situations, and then they get trained for many situations, hostage situations, no, protections, no, lot of things. Even it could be war. Even no, I'm just telling as an example only.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling those things are good or anything. So it
Yeah.
is not like something is happening and then they are given a catalog and just to see like, okay, now we have to take this, we have to do this. They are well prepared, right? So a proper, most best way, just like a profession, even no. That example bit kind of like rough, but it's kind of like the thing we do. Or if it's a profession, okay, there's a probation period and all, but we don't learn everything from scratch like infant would, right? There is something we know and we go to a profession, right? So
Yeah.
likewise, we get prepared uh, through things like practices of meditation. It's not so rough and tough like the external things we do, or just a much more simpler thing like we charge our mobile device and then use it. Huh? It's difficult to charge it on the run, no? And you cannot use it a long time, as well as like if you are fixing some cable or something, it be too heavy and no, or a power bank and all, or if it's connected to wall socket, you cannot go far, right?
Yeah.
So likewise, if we train our minds, that is very helpful in day-to-day situations. So actually it is said, Adan, like that is the true meditation. When we face the real things, that is the true, because sitting and practicing or like in a secure environment or something like that, it's, they say it's like practicing a tricycle in your parents
Right.
lawn. It's very safe.
Yeah.
Even if you fall, no problem, no? Or maybe the parents are close by, or the brother or somebody is close by to you, no? Or they are also
Yeah.
helping you keep balance. But at some point, we cannot go like ride a tricycle until we are 60 or something, no? In our parents' law, at some point, you have to put it onto the road, at least to get some very simple thing, no, a piece of bread or something, no, very simple thing. Then it's the time you face all the trucks, the lorries, no, the cars and everybody. Even if you try to go super clean without breaking any rules, there'll be always somebody coming drunk and in the wrong side, or somebody pedestrian jumping, no, suddenly. They have to be very careful, yeah. But if you are careful, even if it's a tricycle, you can go and do the thing you want and come back safely, but without any
Hmm.
accidents or anything. So likewise, if we have a training or even a daily practice, we can implement that into day-to-day activities, and mindfulness and all plays a key role here. So more better we are equipped, uh, it's easier to cope up with the day-to-day things. Later, Adan, I have also tried it personally. You can be in a busy street. I just tried it for the fun of it, and just to see how I
Hmm.
can manage it. Because you put yourself and see, not you just don't hide in a cave and wait forever, right? This you can. There can people can bump onto you and like and all, but still you can be in the middle place, even standing. But you can go to your inner core, and it's like you have this inner chamber with you always.
Hmm.
You can just shut the door and stay there inside.
It's kind of like the love, right? When you're resonating on love, love for humanity, love for other people, you you're not as affected. You're not as affected by the tumultuous, aggression or
Mm.
resentfulness or strife or people hurting you, right? You're just vibrating on that positivity and that optimism, and it's kind of like it just kind of slips off. You don't really take things so personally anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really want to strike back if you're struck. It's just like, okay, you struck me. You have sorry about that.
No,
My
no,
dad
no.
was calling.
Okay.
Um, yeah, someone struck me. What can I say? I don't want to strike back. I'm just gonna, focus on myself. I'm gonna breathe. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna let it go, let it just relax and just flow, continue to flow. And that's one of the things that I love about Buddhism. When you practice more Buddhism or Hinduism?
More towards Buddhism.
Both? Okay.
But there are practices from Hinduism also. Eh?
Mostly Hinduism?
No, no, no. Like there are practices from both, because I was a monk
Okay.
for a long time, no, and then
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, but now it's like, but that also, then they try to take you more to the depths of things. So then it
Yeah.
becomes
Less
kind
than
of,
just the label. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, like because these had been there, and these some practices were so good. The Buddha asked the people to practice these things. He didn't change them even. So they had been there
Hmm.
around like for example, there are 40 objects for like concentration, except for a few. The most of them come from like thousands and thousands of years. Huh? So he said like you don't there's nothing to change. It's perfect as they are. You also use these things. So he didn't try to change them. And later, like you are putting into more depths. No, you are taken into more depth of things. There's like intermediate stage, then there's the deeper things. Then all these concepts and all just disappear.
What are some, just to name a few, what are like five of the concentration objects that you could point
Oh,
share for us?
breathing, anapanasati they call, about the mindfulness of the inhale as well as the exhale. Ana is
Through
in,
the nose,
yeah,
through
yeah,
the
like
nose, out through the nose, or through the nose, out through the mouth?
through the nose, nostrils.
Only nose, in and
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We focus on like the small area. You don't follow the breath or anything. Just in this subtle area, small area. Sorry. and you focus,
Mhm.
and then
You focus on this, not the third eye, nothing, just the nose.
yeah, but these actually work. These
Yeah.
actually work. But since we are focusing on the breath, and we usually breathe from the nose a lot,
Hmm.
so then what happens? We try to focus on the small area. So it's like you zoom in and then try to focus, and then you just it's called like you're watching somebody go into a house or a building and then come out of the house, and then
Right, right.
you don't see who was it, a tall person or a short person. Later there are few more steps to
Hmm.
do. So that is one, and that is very powerful actually. And then there's like loving kindness practices. There are like 10 objects of like you can take like earth, wind, water, fire. So that's like four itself. And like the
Hmm.
colors, blue, yellow, red, white. You can take the sky, and you can take the light also. So that makes like 10. Uh,
So that's like it automatically gets you into like other states of mind for what you want to achieve.
yeah, so this is like broken up to like it's like a map, Adan.
Hmm.
So there are stages. They are called seven stages of purification, which makes sense. Huh? It's very interesting also because we can get lost in the practice, no? And some one person says another person says another thing. So you are like, okay, and these are some big people, in society, the world. Okay, that is true. Yeah? But if you try to say like, okay, which one should I don't know anything, right? Then then we should have something, no, to know, because you cannot do a little bit of this, little bit of that. No, it's like all are like highways. You
Yeah.
just move a little and then come back again a little in one and come back. You're always at the starting point.
Hmm.
So you have to select one and start going on that path. Doesn't matter even if you start crawling on it. Huh? But you move no forward. So likewise, but if we have a proper plan for that, that would be perfect. No, for because I also had to go through that, and at some point I was like practicing many practices together, which was like really tiring also.
Hmm.
And then and many people tell many things, right? When you go to forums or when you go to retreats or when you meet people, they tell according to their ideologies, and some when you check with the ancient scriptures, some are not true even. So then you're like really confused, no? So then I thought like, no, this doesn't happen like that. We have to find some way, no? So there's a way that it's nobody can challenge that actually, which makes proper sense. For example, they say like a king, he had to go on a journey, so he had to use like seven chariots. Huh?
Who?
A king, a
A
king,
king.
he had to go from say A to Z or B or even doesn't matter. Huh? So for
Yeah.
that journey, it's a kind of like a long journey. So he had to use seven chariots. The first chariot can cover, the horses get tired, then the chariot gets worn off, right? So he would like cover a distance from the first chariot and stop there and get on to the second, and then travel the second distance, and then get down onto the third. But he cannot suddenly
Hmm.
jump from the first to the third, right? Yeah,
Yeah. It
he
goes
has to
step by step.
he has to cover that distance, no? And the
Hmm.
first horses and all, they cannot go that distance, like double the distance. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like first we have mindfulness of this, our sensory doors and all. That's the first step. Yeah? And we don't do like harsh things like killing, stealing, these kind of things, cheating. Yeah? And you can take it even further. Uh, so this is called like the purification of virtue or morality.
Hmm.
That's one, the first chariot. But it's easily you can overcome. You can cover that distance. And the second one is the concentration part. So that is like we use these meditation objects to. There are called five hindrances, the negatives of the mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we kind of like balance them. We cannot, it's not like totally eradicating them, but you can bring some positive factors, which are called jhanic factors, and stop them from troubling your mind, the monkey
Mm-hmm.
mind and all everything. That's number two.
Mm-hmm.
It's called chitta visuddhi, means like purification of the mind, or cleansing. Then second, third one, okay, you jump off the second, go that distance. It's well explained also. So if somebody says like, we can say, no, I'm practicing this, because we are practicing very innocently. No, we are not challenging nobody or anything like that. No, but we are. So if somebody asks, what are you practicing? We can say like in ancient times. These days I'm trying to cleanse the mind. If they say no, 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 that doesn't work, then they should have a better answer for me or anybody. Then tell me like how would you? But we get very well versed and we understand what we are practicing. And within that, so the third chariot is like you cleanse your view. So this has materiality and mentality there. Huh? Like the ingredients for deeper understanding. But we go to like, it's called ultimate realities. So it's the same for you, it's the same for me. If it was a female or in another country or another place, or even animals, Deva, Brahma, anybody. Eh? It's the same. So we just go to the materiality and mentality. That's because
Mm-hmm.
now we thought we were something permanent. Oh, this is I or something. Huh? Then it's like it's clearing our view of the reality. It shows the reality, right? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is the third one. And then you take it another step. Then yeah. Then you go to dependent origination. Means like you can check your past lives even with the help of materiality and mentality. So
Mm-hmm.
what does that? It removes doubt. Some people don't believe in past lives. Not that they don't have to, but you can know by yourself. And then you can like this life, this is the, you know, this is there, right? Yeah. And with this you can learn about the past and the past, present, and with that you can know about the future also. So many doubts go away. That's the fourth chariot. Then the fifth chariot is Kanka. Yeah, like the path. The path. So at those stages, you have done some things, no? Already, there are specific practices for that. It's very interesting. Yeah, and then after that, nobody has to tell you even. You know, okay, this is working for me. This is the path. Uh, it's not some religious thing or anything like that. And I would not even believe if it didn't happen even. Even if it's in scriptures or anything. Not that I'm some big person, but I have to witness it, right? So then it's about the path, magga magga. Then it comes to real vipassana, insight. So you use all that materiality, mentality, dependent origination, the cause and effect. Yeah. And then what we do is like we use these three as the ingredients. Then we see it as impermanent, non-self, these kind of factors. There are specific practices for those also. You like revise it many ways. You see the ingredients again and again and again and again, and then only you put it into the test. Uh, So then it's called the sixth stage. It's like the vipassana start. So it's the patipada jnana darsana visuddhi. That means like the path, the cleansing of or the practice, actually the cleansing of the practice. Then finally it's like attainment, that we cannot do much, but we know when we are really close to enlightenment, even a person knows it's not some blindfolded path or like you suddenly go and fall into a pit, nothing like that. So it's fascinating. So that's the journey of the seven chariots or seven stages of purification. So you can know, no, I'm in the first one, I'm in the second one, I'm in the third one. It's like a map. What should I do for
Very
this?
cool.
Yeah, very nice, eh? So then
That's
people don't
awesome.
get lost even.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They know where to go. They know the path. It's
Exactly.
it's it's yeah, it's the journey.
Uh-huh.
And I want to know.
Please add your
So
ideas also to this.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, as far as karma, right? Do you think that if we do something bad to somebody else, or if somebody does something bad to us,
Mhm.
how exactly is it us that's going to reincarnate into another life and cause the affliction onto them that they did, or is divinity orchestrating other forces and people and objects and situations to set them up so that they pay the consequences for what they did?
Mhm. It's a trick.
Like, how
Yeah,
does
yeah,
how
yeah,
does karma work, like, in that
yeah,
way?
yeah. So,
And how do we liberate ourselves from that wheel of suffering?
uh-huh. Yeah, many these are all human-made concepts, Sean.
Hmm.
Sorry, Adan. Because main humans make and they fight over it. They say your God is no good, our God is good. No, he put these things.
Hmm.
You like that. These are all humans made. So actually, deities or divine, they are very pure. They are very good, and they actually help humans also who are good people. You cannot bribe them, you cannot do this that, like they say. So but each individual has a responsibility for their actions. Karma is action, right? Huh?
Hmm.
So they have to take responsibility. So the in a cause and effect scenario, it's like many religions say, no, what you plant is what you get, or what goes around comes around. Huh? What you sow is what you reap, right? So likewise,
Yeah,
many traditions say this, no? So it's like we
yeah.
plant the specifics, or if you plant grass, you get grass, no? If you plant wheat, you get wheat. Uh, so in some places it says like you cannot, if you plant a sweet mango seed, you get sweet mango, but if it's neem or something, though it's bitter. And how much you wish, like, because you planted that seed, right?
Hmm.
Later you cannot expect like the mango to go bitter and this neem to become sweet, right? Because this is what you planted, huh? So likewise, uh, but the thing is, it comes in multiplication, not just one from one. So there are many people who are doing the similar type of karma, huh? Say people kill, no, or animals kill, and many steal, many cheat, many lie, huh? In the world, right? So there,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be the exact same person. Sometimes you can be placed in a place where that karma can come into effect. That's why we say like, if somebody is angry with their parents or some specific individual, it doesn't have to be that person even. It will be another person. Because that's why people are suddenly placed in as groups, yeah? And then they face the same kind of situations in some countries, places, or even in the same country. No, a bunch of people go through the same experience, either good or bad. It could be climate wise even, or something happened to their water or something, and then they are in trouble. So it can happen, right? So so the karma has this energy, and it helps for future births also. So you are placed in a place where that karma can come into effect. So the wise person can escape these. We were talking today because they were like another podcast also, like we went like karma, we were talking and talking, discussing, cannot finish. So last week we said like let's do a second part. And there's more still, right? We said like let's do a third.
Part two, the sequel, the sequel.
Yeah, yeah. But I think you cannot finish, yeah? So
Hmm.
so we were talking like about a boomerang, no? So when you throw a boomerang, it comes back, right? Huh?
Yeah.
So, but you can even dodge it, no? If you want. and then the energy of that goes and it falls down, no?
Mm-hmm.
You can hit yourself on the head, you can catch it if possible, or if it's nothing is happening, you can dodge it, no? So likewise, if you're mindful and all, you can escape the karma also. But the best
Hmm.
thing is you can, if you can become like, if your defilements, if you can eradicate your defilements, they are the base because you carry your own karma from lifespan to lifespan.
Yeah.
It's like you're carrying a backpack or something, and or a bag of karma. That's why you cannot escape. They say if you try to go to space or the skies, or if you try to hide under the ocean, you cannot escape your karma because you are always carrying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in your mind, it's in your body, and everything. So even if you become another type of life form, still that follows you. Because you carry it, right? From lifespan to lifespan. So
Mm-hmm.
people, because they don't kind of like understand this thing, the unknown, they just give it to something and forget it about it. They don't try to explore what is really happening. It's like, okay, say some subject I don't know, and maybe Adan, you ask me, no? Uh, and then I say, don't ask questions about that. Uh, uh, no, we should not check because I don't know. I'm telling, no, and I didn't even try, right? We should not touch these subjects. We say, but why not, right? This is if this is our
It's
life.
taboo. It's like it's almost like the lie, right? Like a totalitarian society. It's like no, we can't
Um,
talk about that here. It's like we're supposed to suppress ourselves and not
hmm,
express ourselves, and that's I think that's the epitome of like a country that goes into oblivion of the negativity, right?
sure.
And
What are your takes about that?
that's karma.
Hmm.
That's karma also, right?
Yeah,
The karma
exactly.
of a country.
Hmm.
I was reading this really good book
Hmm.
called the Synchronicity Key from David Wilcock.
Hmm.
And in the Synchronicity Key, he basically says that like the universe is the universe, like it's like the solar years or the galactical years, the sort of like every 1,000 years there's like a phase that our galaxy
Hmm.
goes into.
Hmm.
And it's fascinating because it also talks about how the this is what he says. You tell me what when your belief system, what you think about that.
We
But
both,
basically, what he says, huh?
we both talk about it, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. So basically, what he says is that in there all the people that are with you in this life were with you in your past life.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. But they change roles, right? So if this is your mother, this
Oh,
the
okay.
other person your father. If this person's your father, the other person's your brother. I don't know if he said that in that book. I'm rescuing from my past life regression that I had that I was anchored in that. But
Hmm.
back to what he said, he was talking about how the United States
Hmm.
is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he did different leaders and how they could have been the reincarnation of those other leaders. For example, Hitler.
Hmm.
He and you know my heart goes out, and 3 seconds of silence for to commemorate all the Jews that
Sure,
died
sure.
in the
Hmm.
Holocaust.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was commemorated yesterday, the day before yesterday. So I just want to close
Hmm.
my eyes for 5 seconds and just for them to rest in peace.
Hmm. Sure, sure. Hmm.
Yeah. So basically, David Wilcox says that there was a leader named Hannibal, And Hannibal, he had a drawing of him, and the resemblance physically was very similar to Hitler.
Mhm.
So even though that might just be his opinion, it's food for thought of how. Also, I'd ask you, right? We also, that I think that we carry into our next life remnants of
Mhm.
physical attributes. And I was also studying um, some mysticism books, some Christian mysticism, and in those books they talked about how sometimes the reincarnation of a soul could jump a generation.
Mhm.
For example, I'll tell you a cool story about reincarnation.
Mhm.
My brother, um, my mother is almost positive that my brother is the reincarnation of her mom,
Mhm.
because I believe did my brother, was he born on the day that my grandmother died?
Oh, really?
Something like that. There was a
Uh-huh.
synchronicity of the date,
Uh-huh.
and also there was an occurrence, which was when my brother was a little toddler. My mom took him to the beach. We were all in the beach in Dorado here in Puerto Rico, and he was like playing and playing on the little, like there's like a little pool like in between the reef and the sand. There's like a little wave pool like where the kids will
Mhm.
play like very mellow water and whatnot. And my
Mhm.
brother was with my mom, and he says, Do you remember when I used to take you here when you were a little girl?"
Wow.
And she's like, "What are you talking about?" Because she knows
Uh,
that her mother used to do that.
Thank God. Uh-huh.
And he's what, 3, 4 years old.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that stayed in her mind. So she was like, okay, that same day in the kitchen of the hotel room suite, she she's cooking,
Mhm.
and then he starts like talking about
Uh-huh. Wow.
of different ingredients of what he says, "Oh, remember when I used to cook this for you?"
Uh-huh.
And
Sure.
he listed the ingredients of a recipe that
Recipe.
only my grandma knew.
Ceremony. Uh-huh.
So that's like, for people that don't believe in reincarnation, it
Mm.
just those are some of the things that are unexplainable to science right now. But
Mhm.
neuroscience and um, experiments on hypnosis and regression and consciousness and states of the mind. It's a whole entire rabbit hole. But
Mhm.
I find it very fascinating, and certainly the most logical explanation as
Mhm.
to why or how Hinduism and Buddhism resonate so much with me and so many people in the world right now,
Mhm.
in a world where conventional dogma and fanaticism are rife and replete in the world. I believe that a holistic approach of meditation, of adopting different kinds of religions
Mhm.
and using the best of what those religions mean to you to
Mhm.
create your own sort of spiritual practice is the way that I'm seeing many people going right now.
Mhm.
And I think that every single religion has rescuable traits and qualities, especially even going into the Greek mythology and the Egyptian mythology and the Norse mythology.
Mhm.
I believe that if we become more tolerant in the world and accepting of other people, it's like, okay, you're different than me in your religion. That's fine.
Mhm. Sure.
If we can accept each other and love each other and respect each other even though we're different. And I mean, let's see, you believe in a different god, I believe in a different god, but do we
Mhm.
both believe that we should respect each other?
Mhm.
Do we
Sure.
both believe that we shouldn't lie, that we shouldn't cheat, that we shouldn't steal, that we shouldn't kill? I mean, those of the main religions, like many
Mm.
of those are like the pillars, right?
Sure, sure.
That's what's so useful about religion,
Mm.
is that it has a moral code that shall not be broken. It has mortal
Mm.
sins that shall not be committed. I mean, without religion, our society would probably crumble.
Mhm.
And the atheists and the agnostics, I respect them. They
Mhm.
all have their way of living, they have their way of thinking and believing, and that works for them. So I think that being an atheist would be taking a lot of weight onto one's shoulders. And
Mhm.
in a way, it's a form of, there's like, if there's nothing after this and we just go back to the dust, it's like, wow, that's a pretty somber, dark approach and
Mhm.
philosophy towards life.
Mhm.
I think that some of the most useful and meaningful things about all the world religions is that they, that's a very broad term. Maybe,
Mhm.
I don't know about all the world religions. Let me rephrase.
Mhm.
A useful aspect or axiom of the religions that believe in an afterlife.
Mhm.
I believe in an afterlife. It's almost like a hope. It's almost like, yes, I'm here on earth and I'm suffering and I'm going through all these things, but there's an afterlife. Maybe there's going to be a liberation to this weight.
Mhm.
Many religions talk about how life is suffering. Buddha talked about it, Jesus talked about it. Life is suffering,
Mhm.
but there has to be a specification saying that life is suffering, but not all of life is suffering. And
Mhm.
absolutely, you're going to be able to get through it because you're brave, strong, and you have the capacity to grow and learn from the karma, because I believe in
Mhm.
karma. And we there's a lot of theories as to what Jesus was doing before his public life in Rome. There's a really good book called Many Lives, Many Masters from Brian Weiss,
Mhm.
Dr. Brian Weiss, and he was a psychiatrist that did hypnotic regressions on his clients.
Mhm.
And basically he talked about that. So I mean, I want to circle back to the uniting the spirituality with the physicality.
Mhm.
And we are, circling back to the okay, I'm in a physical world, I'm suffering, I just got divorced, my wife cheated on me, never happened to me. um Wife cheated on me, don't have money, lost my job. What would you say to this person
Uh,
that needs a connection to a higher power? That's like absolutely like the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. Like, how
mhm.
do you talk to this person and share with them a way of finding the light at the end of the tunnel in a spiritual way?
Mhm. To this person. Yeah, yeah. So it's like
How would you tell
Mhm.
them?
Oh, we first try to let them find themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
then if the clearance is, it's like cleaning your windows and doors and these kind of things, no, or your house, and then there's more space, more clarity. Even when you clean the windows and the glasses of the windows, the light comes in, no? So then they
Mm-hmm.
can have a connection within the higher even. So, but first they have to clean up. If there's a mess inside with all the garbage and all that, cannot no. There can be rats, there can be maggots, no, all this, and they cannot even look
Mm-hmm.
out from the doors or the windows even, uh, because they have a lot of things to clear already. So if you, but this is like mentality, no? So mental. So it's easier to clean, not like if you have a bunch of trash inside the place, no? So then
You
if you,
shift the way of thinking a little bit.
so they, if you try to let them understand, accept these things, for example, like the examples you brought, it's yeah, it's not a good thing for anybody, no? But it's very difficult to accept these things. uh, and some people are in denial even for the mistakes they had done. So little by, but it takes some process, though. And then if we let them understand, accept, uh, or realize, then we can go to the next step of connecting them to a higher power or higher source or anything according to their beliefs, which is possible. But first, the basic things should be done. The basic things. But some people reach it faster than the others. Some people take some time. Some people
Mm,
have views, ideologies, or some people are in trauma. It's according to each person, and you have to work
right.
this person and see what they also really wish, or want, or need even.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And how do you see, like, I mean, like, modern psychology
Mhm.
in the West, how would you compare that to ancient psychology of the East?
Mhm. Yeah, I think they are catching up. The modern over because they go through like trial and error process, right? And going through many how to say uh, tests. Huh? So
Yeah.
so through that and through the learning experience, so the reality is always the reality, no? So after some time to through research and observing maybe people who have these symptoms and we're gathering their information, analyzing it, no? Like that's how science and all works, no? Usually, and they come to a
Yeah.
conclusion, no? But sometimes there's something else or so more, or the one they estimated or had the belief is not true, just like the medications or all these things, no? There's an evolving process. Those days people were very highly intellect and their mind powers were very strong. So they could not. It's not even like a east and west thing even. But we are comparing to modern day and what there was no in the past.
Yeah.
So those people use their mind power. But now here we use the computers or analysis data. Uh, it's bit further than the reality, no? But those days they used to use direct mind power and see. So, for example, like if you want to see like a person who has anger issues, uh, we don't have to go for like 100 cases or something because we also have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a very maybe subtle way, the mind and the mind object and the mind rejecting the mind object. So, if you learn that in a, like a deep sense, you kind of like can identify what is anger. And there are so many definitions, descriptions, everything specifically given. So in a way, it's kind of like easy also. Uh, uh, then you can like okay, like check these symptoms in another person and identify. Okay, this person is also going through that because naturally, no, unless they're enlightened or something, everybody has because
Yeah.
we are going to like the ultimate reality. That's why when you are telling before also, like the stage when you remove the views, it's the same for you and me. Otherwise, in the conceptual reality, something that makes me angry, you would maybe Sanji, what is that? Is it a problem you might ask me? And is
Mm-hmm.
something happening there? I have no clue even maybe. Or I can ask like, oh Adan, is it bad? No? Because I don't know, right? But in the
Yeah.
ultimate reality, those are external thing. But when it comes to mind and the object, it's the same for you as well as me, not the external causes. So if you focus on that, we know, okay, this is anger, this is greed, this is jealousy. All these things we can recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think like now they are believe more and more in past lives. Then, many things. Only problem then, for example, I'll just tell example. So in our body, there's like different types of materiality. One is karma born, one is mind born, One is according to like how to say, what is that? Uh, like nature born, no, nature utu means like because of the fire element, huh? And some because of the food. That food also, one type is the one we eat. Three types are categorized as from the mind. That's why sometimes when you're very happy, we don't need any food. We feel like, okay, later, food can wait. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sometimes when we are angry also, no, hell with the food. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want to eat it. But it brings a lot of energy, but in a negative way, no. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
But you see, and sometimes psychiatric patients and all, they don't eat, but they have a lot of energy. And you wonder, like, they didn't eat or drink for a long time, but still they have like lot of energy. Huh? So, but the thing is, like, say, for example, they take a blood sample or a specimen from our body. Soon as it separates from our body, it just falls into one category only. This is just physicality, not the karma, not the mind born, not the food related. Just according to just like all this stuff outside. Yeah, you can find some details from that and even sometimes cures or treatments, but it's not everything. So soon as it separates from our body, even if it's our finger, for example, some accident happens and the finger drops, no? Huh? If you don't connect it, it will be another, just like another piece of something we have outside, right? It is, no? When it
A
separates.
chicken finger, a chicken finger.
Yeah, yeah. Or anything, it can be just like a stick even, no? Or a,
Yeah, no,
yeah, yeah, no,
inanimate object. It's not part of us anymore.
yeah, no more, right? So that's why we can trim our fingernails and the hair. We can shave, or no, you guys trim
Mm-hmm.
your hair because like that kind of particles and the sensory objects are not there. But soon as you reach a little bit more further, it's painful. Even the fingernails, when you're trimming it, it you little bit further. Oh, it's so painful. It can bleed even, no?
Mm-hmm.
But when it separates from the body, we cannot feel anything at all. Even some ants or some animal can come and eat it even, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
don't feel no pain. Huh? So likewise, when the blood sample is taken away from us, it becomes like one of the external objects. So you cannot know hundreds. So this is just one from four types and many more. Huh? So you cannot get a full analysis from that even with the highest technological things, equipment even. So what to say about a mind? Even if you fix all these electrodes and part things for measurements, it's the ripple effect we get to know through the physicality. We never get to know the mentality, right? What happens
Yeah.
like say I'm angry and it comes out through me. Huh? Then those machines can find it, but it's way further from what really happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like the subtle movement of the inside this ocean or something. We are like measuring the tsunami. Huh? Yeah, but it's very further away, no, from the
Mm-hmm.
real source of things. Huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it is catching on. But people can easily do with it with their minds without $1,000 equipment or years and years and years of training or like that is also training, right? Or learning.
Mm-hmm.
But they can just do it with the mind also.
Yeah. I think more and more science is discovering the power of meditation and the brain waves. I was looking at an experiment where, like a video, where they had monks inside a laboratory and they connected like the
Mm-hmm.
little
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh like the chupones onto their head
Yeah,
to
yeah, no?
to measure their brain
brain
waves
fun.
and
Uh-huh.
their like alpha gamma waves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible. It's really incredible what the monks can do to control their heartbeat, to control the temperature of their body. And you see the the monks in
Tibet. Uh-huh.
Tibet, right in the cold Himalayan mountains
Mm-hmm.
with like no clothing on,
Mm-hmm.
no clothing on, and increasing the body heat that they have to be
Uh-huh.
able to, you know, melt or dry things up. Like there's like a wet towel, right? They had a wet towel and they like were warming it up with their body heat. Just like these incredible stories of monks and how they could bend reality and how they could manifest things into the physical world and how they can really be in control of their whole entire physical vehicle
Mm-hmm.
with the power of Buddha or Krishna or
Mm-hmm.
Vishnu,
Sure, sure.
Brahma, Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
Mary, Lao Tzu,
Mm-hmm.
some Taoism in
Yeah.
Shaolin. The
Mm-hmm.
Tao is incredible. So yeah, fascinating. Very much something that's worth diving into in the following episodes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And about that
Yeah,
karma, what you mentioned, it can go in many directions. But I believe, like when you say about your brother, it seems so connected. Then, yeah, it looks. If the little child said all these things,
like this.
yeah. uh,
Love one another, Sanjay.
that's right. Yeah, that's so true.
Listen,
Like when you say about your brother, yeah, and if he was able to tell like the recipes and like relate to your mother, no child would say those kind of things, no? So yeah.
no, that's incredible. There's no logical explanation other than
Uh,
reincarnation.
but some places are done. Some people have these misconceptions, like when they say like they skip a generation and all, but still they have to be born in another place. Okay, they can skip and come to the next generation, but yet there will be a birth related to them. Maybe they will be in the heavens or some other place, and they can come back to their relatives or something. But guys like Hitler, or you cannot think that they'll have a human existence in the near future. According, yeah, the things they have done, and how many, like millions after millions, if a person can come back, oh, that is very unlikely to think. Even if they say like he went to escaped and all these things, at some age, he have. Recently, I saw like there was a documentary, and you know this Joseph Mingle, that
Joseph Mingle,
yeah, the crazy doctor, right? Huh?
the one that did all the experiments
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Jews during
exactly.
World
Yeah,
War
yeah,
II.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy was like roaming in Europe and the States for a long time after that. And he was supporting some experiments also, it seems. Mind control. Yeah, really. And yeah. So
That's
because
some crazy
many
like United States government conspiracy.
there are people who were really close as children,
Uh
and they
huh.
were put into test, and this was one of the persons who was talking about it. Because like after Second World War, many were hired, no? That's how they got the nuclear bomb even,
Right,
right?
they brought doctors and
Yeah,
scientists
a
over
whole bunch of
from
them.
the yeah.
In these Nazis also, some of them they took, and even the guy like, or the yeah, we don't have to dig deep in this, but they were there around. Huh? So, but even if they died peacefully because of their past karma, in their past they have done good karma for sure. That's why they came into power and places of authority, but they misused it. So then they'll have to pay the price for that. Huh? So if you do some
It's
so
just
many
in the free will. It's always in the free will. What are you gonna do? Did had an amazing life,
uh,
treated people with respect, loved one another, was faithful to my wife,
mm,
had an honorable job, treated
mm,
my family with respect, always told the truth. Next life, become the president of
mm. Yeah, yeah,
Italy.
yeah.
Like, now what? Well, now what am I gonna do? We must
uh,
use our energy. We must use our free will to be respectful to other people, to
mm,
to love one another, to use the power. For example, my father's a very influential man
mhm,
in show business in Latin
mhm,
America.
mhm,
And something that I've like always learned from him, which is like you never ever ever say no to a picture from a fan.
mhm, mhm,
If it's one picture, if it's five pictures, if it's 50 pictures, you
mhm,
have to stay there and you have to take every single picture with every single person until there's no more people to take pictures with.
mhm,
And I learned that from him, to be grateful, to be humble, to be graceful with the people that support you, that buy your albums, that watch your movies, that buy your concert tickets. If you don't want to take pictures with anybody, don't leave your house.
mhm,
Because if you are an influential person, people are going to come up to you, and you have to be that way.
mhm,
So he is using the power that he has to be able to help other people, to be able to make people's day better,
mhm,
and that's a perfect example
mhm,
of using power for the best. So
mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah, there are old stories also, Adan. Uh, yeah, like there were some people, they like your brother, they could recollect past lives, no, when they were kids. So there was a
Hmm.
prince who could recollect his own past life, and he became afraid because he was the prince, right? And it says like for 16 years he just by on purposefully he stayed lived like a disabled child, just like dirtying himself, urine, excreta, and like as if his limbs were like disabled. He just stayed like that.
Hmm.
And at some
Yeah.
point, the king had or minister had told, "O king, like this child is a shameful thing for you also." But the king first he didn't have a mind to like remove that child. So for 16 years he was like that. Then after that he thought like, okay, this goes forever, and I should do something about it. So they asked like some guards to take this child and take it to the forest, the child to the forest. Now it's like a teenager, no, 16, and like in the life. So they also did not feel like. So they thought like, okay, we make a pit and bury the child because already disabled, no, and come back. But they were this like they were digging, it seems. And then when they like lifted their head, there was this young person very well, and it looked exactly like the prince, it seems. And there was like, "Who are you?" No, and he had told like, "I'm." Before he acted like he could not even talk, and all the saliva and all like a real person who's disabled. No, uh,
He was testing his dad.
no, no, hold on. There's a bigger story, yeah, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. So they had asked like, "How can you even stand? You could not even move your limbs. Somebody had to carry you, clean you, no? But still, you would like just pass, no, the excreta, urine just after that, and you were always in that pile of for 16 years." Huh? So then he said like, you know what? Uh, I saw what my life, past lives. I was born in a hell. Huh? Then I could check, yeah, yeah. I could check my, then I wanted to know why I was born in a hell. So I checked my previous life. There I was a king. Huh? So I tried to be a honest king, but I had to punish the people who stole or did crimes. That was the only thing I did. So for that, I was born in a place where I also had to go through torture. Huh?
Mm.
So now here I am again a prince, and I am going to be the next king. But I don't
Mm.
want to go and live like thousands of years back in hell. So that's why all these 16 years is nothing much than thousands of years, right? So that's
Yeah.
why I stayed. So you can tell my father that you got rid of me, but let me be in peace. Since he'll think like, okay, like my child, I won't be a trouble for him or a disgrace for him no more. And he lived as a
Mm.
hermit in the forest, it seems. Uh, so when you say like when people come to power, at least even if they are good, they have to punish people, right? If they do
Yeah.
crimes. So, but that also comes back. So, if you are like a ruthless person or a corrupt person, my goodness, lot of things will follow you. So
It's true.
that king, he just had to punish, uh, but still he also could not get away from his karma.
Hmm.
But say the people who are doing all these corrupt things or some bad things or something, no, surely like
Yeah.
Hitler, no. So it's I don't think like he'll coming back for a long time. Eh? So yeah, yeah.
It's fascinating. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting how family dynamics work in
Mhm.
reincarnation, and
Uh-huh.
you. I feel like family dynamics are probably like of all the relationships in one's life, the hardest are the family ones, just
Mhm.
because there's certainly like an intricate karmic dynamic and flow of interactions. I,
Mhm.
I definitely think that in families there's like a karmic bond from lifetime to lifetime.
Mhm.
So it's very important to honor your parents,
Mhm.
be a beautiful person, be respectful, forgive. I mean, sometimes parents aren't the best parents that they could be. Mine are,
Mhm.
but yeah, nobody's perfect.
Sure, sure.
Nobody's perfect. They are what they can be. My dad always taught me that every single person expresses himself to their best capacity, or to the capacity that they can express themselves.
Mhm.
So it's important. If
Mhm.
you have kids, if you bring people into the world, if you bring children into the world, it's your responsibility
Sure,
to take
sure.
care of the child.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't this like conception of the West of like you are 18 years old and you're gonna leave and I'm gonna kick you out of the house and you're gonna go, be an independent adult. It's like, I don't know. You don't necessarily have to kick your kid out. Obviously in balance, right? I think you
Mhm.
told me something a little earlier when we first started the episode, something about like maintaining the child too dependent upon the parents is detrimental to the child, because there has to be a
Mhm.
moment where the kid experiences the world, experiences suffering, experiences um, bad people and betrayal. There has to be like the child can't be in a cocoon and quilted and cushioned and in a bubble of protection for their whole entire life, because if you do everything for the child, by the time that they get, they're an
Mhm.
adult, they are going to be resentful and they're not going to know how to be hardworking, how to be
Mhm.
mm, street smart, wise, and
Mhm.
boundaries, be able to do things on your own.
Mhm.
So, and in balance, everything is balance. I feel like the pitfall of man is going to the extremes. It's
Mhm.
easier said than done. Sometimes we
Sure,
we don't
sure.
want to, be in the balance, because we need to strive for something on this side, we need to strive for something on
Mhm.
the other side. But as much as possible, to try to find the center, go into the, try to go into the center.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can strive for balance and being in the harmony, that could be that for meaning and something to strive to. I think that's a good daily goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that in a day, like things could take us in one direction or things could take us in another
Mm-hmm.
direction. And every single morning I wake up and I'm just like, today's gonna be a great day. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
in my alpha state. I'm still sort of in like in a slumber, waking up, and I'm saying today's gonna be a great day. And I list things that I'm grateful for, and then I continue my day, and I have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like programming yourself as well.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And coming back to our topic, oh, there's like karma also. Like there was one question you asked in some before when you're talking about your brother and all, Adan.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the roles can shift. The parents can be children. The children can be like the siblings can change their roles. So this also can happen. Some even Buddha he said no at one time. This was my father. This was my mother. Like that. For some specific reasons he used to tell or the people around him. So in a way, like they say, there's nobody. Though people are fighting each other, the sansara is so long. There is actually nobody that isn't a relative. Everybody is a relative. Uh,
Yeah.
and course, we were born in so many places. So we have met so many times.
Right.
Uh,
Exactly.
Say you were born as an ant, you will have plenty of relatives, right?
Hmm.
No, no, really, no, a beehive or something. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so we have been born so many places and so many times. It says like there isn't a person who is not a relative of yours. So the shift can happen in many ways. And coming back to the our topic, Adan,
Hmm.
later we'll realize like it's like an empty piece of paper. If you say like normal day to day life and spirituality. Yeah? So we draw a line in the middle and we try to separate it. But actually, later we realize it's the same thing. Uh, so, but what we do is later on we erase that line we drew. Some people they make a like a fence or a wall that separates it. So you are like from one end you'd like to if somebody's interested they peek onto the opposite side. From the other
Hmm.
side they peek. So for example when you go to a retreat, people go and think like oh don't know how the situation at home is. How are they doing? But when they are at home or at the normal life, they think, oh, if I like have a break with this, if I can have something change. So it's like you build this wall and you're like looking from that wall and thinking like what's in the opposite side. Huh? But in the
Hmm.
very beginning, this wall, so none of them were there. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to connect these both areas and later we realize it's the same. So meditation and all also we think like okay this is the practice and this is the real meditation. But it's the
Hmm.
same, right? Only thing like we practice it in a more secure environment. But later we take transition those practices to day life or incorporate that. But it's the same practice, no? Like a person learns to drive in a safe place uh, or in a safe situation, but they put that same skills and practice on the road, right? So it's not a
Yeah.
different thing, no? And then they gain the experiences through that and they become better driver maybe. Huh? So
Yeah.
likewise, this is what we do, like life and so we were talking about like how spirituality can be brought into our normal lives, no?
Hmm.
So later we erase those borders and lines or fences or walls and then we see like it was the same thing from the very beginning. So life and meditation, life and spirituality, it's not something different. But we separate it and we say, okay, maybe just on a specific day, or on a retreat, or while I'm meditating, or doing my spiritual practices. But actually, we are living it. So meditation also later it becomes a part of your life.
It has to be something we take with us everywhere we go.
Yeah, yeah. Later it's like you grow a
Mhm.
beard or like get used to a pair of specs or something. We see through
Yeah.
that. It's always around. It becomes a
Yeah.
part of you. But first you have to start growing it or getting used to those glasses. Later you
Hmm.
even if it's on your head, you don't even it's not a problem for you, no?
Hmm.
And some people are so used to it, they are searching around, but it maybe the glasses are on their head. No, so likewise, it becomes a part of you. So that's why the enlightened beings they say, Adan, uh,
Hmm.
they would go to enlightenment when they are sitting, and the other every time without even a small gap, they would be fully mindful, and no kind of unwholesome mind would arise within them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they would go to the highest stage of like practices when they are sitting or like in a specific place or posture. But the other time that mindfulness would continue all through the day, 24/7.
Take it with you.
Yeah, yeah, surely, surely.
Yeah. What's like a little mindfulness exercise that you do like right when you wake up?
So usually you go to sleep with a specific meditation, and
Hmm.
then it actually works in the sleep stage also, and you can have better rest and everything. And then if that is not the case, even you try it if you are focusing on the breath or loving kindness or anything, you try to bring that back again. It's like you wake up with the meditation.
Hmm.
So likewise, it's always good to go to like a legit practice. So later, when you are doing specific meditations, your whole life becomes like that. The practice when you're walking, when you are eating, when you're doing other stuff, or when you're practicing, you practice that whole everything. You go to sleep with that, you wake up with that.
Hmm.
So it becomes your life also. So
What's a good anti-anxiety meditation?
uh, anxiety, if you can bring your mind to this present moment
Mm.
and anchor it and become make it stronger, because you can use things like loving kindness also, because anxiety is also anger related.
Okay.
So depression comes from the past, anxiety comes from the future. So but it's all anger related. Usually sometimes the stuff we crave sometimes brings pleasure to us, so it's in the greedy side actually. But here it's gross, no? Depression, anxiety. People feel agitated and like it's very uncomfortable. So it's always anger related. So if you use like something like loving kindness or even the breath, just to anchor yourself to the present moment, and then loving kindness meditation can soothe things out because it's the opposite of anger.
Hmm.
It's like antidote for both when whichever side it comes from. But bringing yourself back
Loving
to the
kindness.
present moment, it keeps you like separated from all this, even the unknown future.
Hmm.
Because it makes sense, right? Because it didn't
Yeah.
happen. We can freak out, we can be really upset. Oh, but what if it doesn't even happen? There
Yeah.
are instances like that, right?
Hmm.
We freak out and oh my goodness, like we don't know what will happen, no? But nothing happens. And it's like, come on, no?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Just be present. Be
Hmm.
present. It's like the power of now. You know, Eckhart Tolle. He talks about the power of now
Hmm.
in
Sure,
the main
sure.
body. Like, back to the breath. It's like if something's bothering you, if like you have an emotion that you don't like, you just like draw your attention to that part of your body to where the emotion is. Just focus on it.
Hmm.
And if you pay attention to what's going on inside of you, it won't bother you as much. Just be aware of
Hmm.
it.
Actually, we are living in the present moment. We don't know. We forget that. And the next moment in the future will be also another present moment. But we forget that and we get carried away, and we forget the present moment, or we are stuck in the past. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also a present moment. When it happened, then and there, even if it's a bad situation, it was also a present moment then. We are thinking about it on a present moment now.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are having anxiety about the future also, it will be another present moment when this moment passes away. So actually we are living in the present moment, but we forget about it. That's why mindfulness brings us there again to the reality.
How does in Sri Lanka, how do you treat a mental disorder, right? Like a bipolar depression, back to what I was saying, anxiety, maybe schizophrenia, multiple personality, anger. Like how would you guys use herbs? Do you use
Oh, yeah.
tinctures,
Mhm.
vitamins? Like how do you treat that?
Now, usually they use like modern methods. Modern is like
Okay.
yeah, Western methods, because
Mm-hmm.
after the Britishers came, they like destroyed many of the things we had, and
Yeah.
but there were Ayurvedic practitioners until recent times who were helping with even psychological disorders. So, but now it's all fall back. It's into like Western treatments, medications. They yeah, they put the people through like those medications, so they like put the electricity, and
What do you think? Do you believe in naturopathy? Do you believe in Western medicine? Do you believe in uniting it?
yeah, it's good if it can be done in a safe way. But now it's so industrialized, or like
Mm-hmm.
and the people are just fed pills, or like
Mm-hmm.
a person
To
with
take care of the symptom, not
yeah,
heal.
yeah, and then for that there are side effects. So for that, not more medications. So it's never
Yeah.
ending, and it's like a lifelong process you have to take. For example, Adan, now they find ADHD is not a big problem. But before, the little kids were given, like these were little children, right?
Adderall, Ritalin.
Yeah, these are children and they should play, they should run around, no? Not get stuck and stay like a vegetable in one place, right? Uh,
Right.
so, but they are not put into that. They are supposed to be in one place. So, likewise, the psychiatric patients also, or people with these difficulties, they are given medicines to like, how to say, seduct them, right? Seduct, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and put them into sleep.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the medicine is there, like they look okay, right? Because they are sleeping. But it's not a cure for the problem, right?
And boys are normally the ones that mostly boys have the ADD and the ADHD, and that's
Uh-huh.
why boys are more disagreeable than young girls,
Mhm.
which makes it more difficult for a boy to follow rules
Uh-huh.
and stay seated in a classroom obeying orders.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay.
So yeah, I think it's a controversial and debated topic as to whether to medicate children.
Yeah, yeah.
It's controversial, but if it gets to a level where like the demeanor and the behavior and the criteria is like way beyond any functionality that the kid can have in his life, there you have to like take into consideration what you can do
Mm-hmm.
for the kid. But yeah, I would try to go for the most natural
Yeah,
remedy
sure.
first.
Sure, sure.
And if you can't do just natural, you could, I mean, I believe like natural supplements,
Mm-hmm.
diet is very important.
Mm-hmm.
If you're suffering from anxiety, have a high fat, high protein breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It's obvious that the glucose spikes of sugar in the morning are causing people to be more neurotic.
Mm-hmm.
And the refined sugar is even worse. I mean,
Worse, worse, worse.
I tried to stop refined sugar this year. I'm having mostly just fruit
Mm-hmm.
and honey, raw honey, and that's basically
Uh-huh.
the most sugar I get.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, it's important. It's important to try complementing both
Mm,
with Eastern and Western, to
mm,
my estimation.
sure, sure. Why other now they say like cholesterol is bad, cholesterol bad, and people are supposed to drink medicine, no? But now they are
Hmm.
finding like for the brain functions they need cholesterol. So the people they
Right.
have done like research what the people who went through these cholesterol medicines what were the
The
diseases.
statin drugs,
Yeah, but they got
that's high blood pressure.
insomnia. These kind of
Hmm.
diseases like dysfunctions of the memory. These things
Hmm.
happen because they are stopping the level of. But this was not present in the past time. It seems people used to eat heavy diets, but they used to work, and nothing happened to them, right? And then they said like
Yeah.
cholesterol, cholesterol, cholesterol. Uh, Not that we should eat junk food and all that things, no. But
There's this like demonizing of like the egg, right? The egg, oh, like I
uh,
can have eggs, they have high
uh,
cholesterol, but Dr. Berg, Eric Berg, I might be paraphrasing, don't quote me that I'm quoting him, but I'm trying to think it might have been
mhm,
him, that he says that the egg is very healthy because it has so many nutrients and
mhm,
omegas and protein. It's a bit, the egg with the yolk and the egg white is a very complete meal.
mhm, mhm,
So, I like eggs. I'm
mhm.
gonna go have eggs now.
Yeah, they show like
So,
people like they say don't eat too many eggs, and there are people actually now coming up and showing that the most of their diet is like a bunch of eggs, no? And
mhm,
they say I'm totally fine. It's this
totally fine.
junk food and all because they are
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like
they
for a
have so
burger to
many.
have like 30 ingredients: bread,
Exactly.
meat,
Uh,
tomato, lettuce, onion. 30 ingredients.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
That is, fast food is so inflammatory, but it tastes
Uh,
so good. So that's why it's very dangerous.
uh-huh.
Very dangerous. But it's our choice what we eat, what we do with our body, what we do with our health. It's our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Um, do you think that mental health problems are a spiritual problem or a physical problem?
Uh, yeah, some people have physical symptoms. For example, I know a person, a young person, and then when he was born, do you know the CP? Like when they were,
Hmm.
yeah, they call it CP, yeah. I don't know the exact definition of it, or so when they were taking out from his mother's womb, the child as a child, they had used some uh, utensils or tools, but it had affected the brain.
Mm.
And then there was a damage in the brain, and so from there on, usually those people who get that, they cannot even walk. Luckily, he can. But the worst part is like his functions are very low. Huh?
Yeah.
And then when he goes to school,
Ah, cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah.
And then the worst part is like when they see other children running around, and then like when he's becoming a teenager, they go for dates, no, these kind of things, activities, they feel very bad. Then depression and all these kind of things hit in. Not only that, like so there are some things like that can be triggered because of physical problems also. But
Hmm.
some like the karma also comes into action, and some just by the mentality also. Uh, you see, like people who they look totally fine from outside, but inside there's a lot of things happening. No, so physically they have no problem. Some people are not
Yeah.
in some addictions even, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but they have psychological disorders. So it can be either way. Some people are born with it. So it's surely something to do with karma also.
Yeah.
So anything
Yep.
can trigger those things that they can just fall down and something can happen. Some big thing can happen in their life. Some
Hmm.
people go through a lot of like chaos or trauma or something like that, or stress, and then everything changes. Uh, So there can be trigger points from all directions, but eventually it will be like mind related, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Circling back to the book, the David Wilcock Synchronicity Key,
Uh,
he he talked about how people that are have reincarnated many, like millions and millions of lifetimes,
mhm,
their vibration is so high that they really can't adapt to Earth's energy.
mhm, mhm,
It's so high, so they have these like an onset of like personality disorders, allergies,
mhm,
physical pain, injuries, because they just can't click in and mesh with our energy. Do
mhm.
you think that everything is spiritual, or do you think that these people are just hurting themselves because they're not taking care of themselves, or do you think this could be a more of a soul, like a soul vibration level to why they're getting hurt, or astrological?
Or we can take each of them individually as well as all together. You know that.
Yeah. We'll take it apart. We'll
No, no,
unpack it.
like no, no. I mean, like if you are taking as that how they hurt themselves, all
Mm-hmm.
these parts, like we were telling about the psychological disorders, all these can come into effect. Yeah? Or one of them can come into effect also, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it depends on some people. They don't do any kind of spiritual activity or none, but they are fine, no. And if some big thing happens, they can just dust themselves and get back on their feet even. Uh,
Yeah.
they say like, who cares, no? Or they say like, I get lemons or something. I make some pickle or something with the lemons, right? Or
Yeah.
lemonade or something, no? With the bitter lemons. Likewise, but surely there's some connection. Maybe in their past lives they were practicing very well. Uh, so that's why they are in a very mature state in this life. But in this life, they don't seem to do anything. Not in
Mm-hmm.
specific religion or any spiritual practices. None of that. But maybe they are well off like a person who's really practicing even. That doesn't mean with
Yeah.
that person is bad and this person is good. None of that. But you see some maturity, no?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all these things can come into effect, and yeah, people can hurt them in different ways also. In spirituality also, there are people who went through some practices. There were when you go to forest and all also there are entities, and sometimes you can just see the eyes of them. And then when you listen to the story, there were some people like in one place like two of them. You see like four eyes, no, suddenly like appearing reddish color. And then you go ask the people of that really like what is going on. No, they don't tell you at first. After it happens,
Mm-hmm.
they tell you, you know. And then like the corner of the eye, you can see, like something is there. But when you look, it disappears. No.
So
And
spooky.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is like in the middle of the forest or like in a remote location. No, you cannot even run, right? So
Right. Right.
So then when you ask the backstory of this, they say like there were two people like some time back, they were practicing meditation and all, they went through some specific practices. And they actually got some power and then they were trying to do all kind of like magic like stuff or voodoo like stuff from that. And their ego was building, they did even like bad things also. Now they are
Mm-hmm.
over there, stuck.
Right. Now they're ghosts
Yeah, yeah,
stuck
they're
in that
stuck there.
dimension.
Uh,
Now they can't go up, they can't go down. They're just like, wow. That's
so
what happens with ghosts, right? That's why ghosts are stuck, because they're meddling with the dark forces in
uh,
the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah. Because of anger, because of greed, something keeps them stuck. So
They can't let go. They can't transition into the other dimension.
sure, sure, sure. So even if like a person is into spirituality, also they can ruin things for themselves even
Hmm. They
by
can go to the dark side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they think they have some power, no? And then people also start respecting them, even for that power itself.
And then the ego
Yeah, yeah.
inflation.
And then they start just doing that. Even some good people, like they get like because of concentration and all, and even if they wish somebody to have good health and all, sometimes it happens. Then
Hmm.
the ego kicks in and they think like, okay, maybe I'm somebody special, huh?
Yeah.
But that itself destroys them. There are some who go to the forest, and in the forest they start like starting a city in the middle of the forest. But they went to the
Yeah.
forest to like start live very very simple, no? And I remember there was one person like he went to the forest and started all these projects and all in the middle of the forest. And with uh, and then he got to conflicts because in the forest there was some like these illicit liquor places where they used to brew because they to some, and then he was like against that, and then they even try to poison him. But you just go to like meditate or like you are not trying to build a city in the middle of the forest, right?
Hmm.
That was not your first intention, no?
Right.
So try to stop all these illicit things and all, like no, cleanse society or something.
Hmm.
So which seems good, but it's not to end like that, no, being poisoned or something.
Hmm.
So people can get carried away even within that spiritual practices and what they do,
Yeah.
and then yeah, then it can turn into. There are some people who practice and they didn't have a proper teacher or they were practicing by themselves, and then when it rains, they just say water, 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 and they just go outside and get wet, like the water element. But real practices, they don't make any harm like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, there are those things also happening. So
Yep. Cool.
uh,
Well, yeah. So,
yeah, no,
you
today we,
want to talk about anything else?
no, today I think we can wrap it up for
We're
today, right?
good. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, no, we
Yeah.
covered many
Well,
things, no?
yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in
Uh,
to the Golden Lotus podcast with Sanji and I. We are very happy that you guys are supporting us. And if you like this episode, like, follow, subscribe, share, comment. All comments are welcome,
mm.
unless they are trolls, but we don't want to get into that. So, all the best, and have a beautiful rest of your day or night. Take care, guys,
Okay, I
and
see you. Thank you.
blessings. Namaste.